So you think you can't take breathtaking images because you don't have the right equipment to shoot the Milky Way? I use the Fujifilm X-T20, which costs €500 if you buy it used, and it can take amazing images. As a lens, I use the Samyang 12mm f2.0 lens, which costs about €150 if you buy it used. It's all about what you know and not about your equipment. To take amazing images from the Milky Way, there are 3 essential steps that you have to follow. First is the preparation, then comes the shooting, and then the editing. In this video I will show you all my secret tricks and the workflow from start to finish to take my Milky Way images to the next level and get the best results out of them. I know it's a bit of a longer video, but I will promise you that you will benefit a lot from the tips that I will give you. And I will also make a video where I will show you how you can make amazing Milky Way images with just a smartphone. So definitely don't forget to subscribe so you get notified when I upload those videos, and then you have all the knowledge you need to go and take amazing photos of the Milky Way. And now let's get straight into it. So as we can see here, we now got 3 images of the Milky Way and 1 of the foreground. I did that because the arch is pretty large, as you can see right here, and the second reason why is that I could expose longer for the foreground. So it gets really nice and bright. But the problem with that is that the stars get star trails, and you don't want that because then it gets unsharp, the Milky Way, as you can see here. So he then took 3 shorter exposures from the night sky, and the reason why I took 3 images of the night sky is because this is a great technique to get rid of noise, which is the biggest problem of cheap cameras. Cheap cameras have a lot of noise, and to get rid of the noise you can just lower the ISO, or you can stack the images, which we're doing here. And the reason for that is that the noise in the images is random. So if we take a lot of images of the night sky, we can just layer those over each other and then just get rid of the noise. So to stack the images, we use the program Sequator. It's really great. So I'll now just choose those 3 images, add them as star images. Now we just have to define an output. And now the composition, we can let that at align stars. The sky region, for me, I take full area because I will add the foreground separately. But if you have the foreground and the background in one shot or in multiple shots, but everything is in the frame, you can also use irregular mask and then activate auxiliary highlight and then just paint in the sky. And then Sequator will already stack the images from the night sky and then just put the foreground in front of it. But in my case, I'll just reset this to full area. Auto brightness, we can let that off. High dynamic range, we will turn that on. Remove dynamic noise, we can put that on. Then distortion effects, we don't need that. Reduce light pollution, we have to make that on. Uneven. And then the strength, I put this on weak. And then we're already done. So we can start it now, and now it will stack the images, and then I'll come back to you if it's done. Okay, so we now got the stacked image here. So my stacked image got a bit dark, but that's no problem because we're gonna edit it anyways. So we can now open this photo in Photoshop. Okay, so we now got the image loaded up in Photoshop. So the first thing we gotta do is I'll just rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. So the first thing we have to do is we have to stretch the image. Press Ctrl L, then you got the levels here, and just slide over this bar. And now here we can see the Milky Way. So as we don't need the foreground here because of the stacking, it got distorted now. We'll just crop this out, clear the ratio, and just choose the Milky Way and a bit of the foreground. And now a great thing that I would do is just copy this image by pressing Ctrl J, then copying it once more, so you have 3 of the same layer. And then the first layer, just go into filter, noise, and then dust and scratches. Here, just put the radius up to 500, threshold to 0, and then press OK. So the reason that we're doing this is because we have a vignetting here. You can see like up here the corner is darker, and here in the center it's brighter, and we have this orange tint in front of the image. So we can remove this. So we just made this layer here, And now we can just apply this or subtract this from this layer. So you just go to image, then apply image. Be sure to choose the layer with the Milky Way. And then just with blending, we just choose subtract. The opacity can be 100%. And then the offset, just set it to 60. And then you can just press OK. Good, perfect. So now you can see that we have the Milky Way here without this orange look. Okay, so now the next step is to get out the details of the Milky Way. So we do that by stretching the image even more, press Ctrl L, then the levels panel comes up, and then you're just going to pull this one over, press OK, get the levels back with Ctrl L, and then get this one over. So now the next step is to remove the stars, because the problem is if we now edit the Milky Way even further, the stars wouldn't look that good. So I can just remove the stars, and then afterwards we can edit the Milky Way and then put the stars back in. So I can remove the stars with the program called StarNet V2. So just go up here to File, then save a copy, save on your computer, then just go to your StarNet V2 folder, call it stars.tif, press on save, and now here we can just discard all layers and save it as a copy. So to remove the stars now, we have to press on run RGB starnet.bat, and now it will remove the stars. So now we can edit the foreground. To do that, we'll just take the foreground image and then open it in Photoshop. Okay, so it now will open in this window. So here we can just make our adjustments. First go to basic. So don't make the photo too bright. It should always look like you took it at night. And now the foreground is edited for me. So the star removal is done now. So we can just press enter, go into the folder, and now we can see here we have the starless image. We just have the Milky Way without any stars. So that's beautiful. You just get this into Photoshop. You have to rasterize this layer, and now as you can see we have one with the stars and one without the stars. So we can now edit the starless version, and for that we'll just press Ctrl N again, L again, and make those changes. Stretch the image a bit more. Okay, great. And now as you can see we have this color noise. So to remove this one, we just have to go to filter, camera raw filter, and now when we zoom in we can just go to details and then use the color noise reduction until the color noise disappears. So it's like about 25 should be good for every photo. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay, let's save those changes. Okay, good. So now to get the details out, a good trick is to press Ctrl M to get the curves out. And now just use this hand tool. And then go to the background. Just drag it down a bit, not too much. Then go to the bright part of the Milky Way and then just drag those up. Good. So you have the before and after. Okay, so now I can stretch the image a bit more. Just press Ctrl L. Drag this over. Press OK. Press Ctrl L again. Pull this slider over a bit. So like here, press Ctrl M and just play with the curves a bit. That looks good. Another trick is if you look here on the background, it gets a bit noisy, but the Milky Way details aren't just showing up as much as we want to. So we press Ctrl J to copy this layer. And now what we're going to do is make a mask. So just press down here, then just use a brush. And now we're just gonna invert the mask by pressing Ctrl I. Now everything is deselected and we use the white color. So just press here, then make sure that the white color is on top, make the brush large. That's a really good trick that not a lot of people know. Just press Alt and then with the mouse just press the right button and it gets red. If you drag the mouse from left to right, larger and smaller, and up and down makes it harder and softer. So we're just going to use this brush and just select where the Milky Way is. About like this. You can do this by pressing Alt and pressing on this photo. There you can see the selection. That looks pretty good. Okay, good. And now I can also feather the mask a bit. Let's look at this here. That looks good. Okay, perfect. So now we just have the Milky Way selected and we can make more changes to the Milky Way. So just press on the photo, pull up the levels by pressing Ctrl L. Pull the middle slider to the left and then the left slider a bit to the right. And now we can really see the details coming out of the Milky Way. Okay, so now the next step is to edit the Milky Way in Luminar 4. You can also use another Luminar tool or even Photoshop or Lightroom. So you just press Shift, Ctrl, Alt and E. And this will make a layer which contains the whole picture that you can see right now. So we now got this layer here. And now we'll edit only the Milky Way by itself. So let's just go to Filter, Skylum Software, Luminar 4. And what's great about Luminar is that it's a one-time purchase. So you just buy it for pretty cheap. It's like 40 euros, I think. It's a great tool. It has a lot of AI tools. So you don't have to look at the background. Really, you just have to make sure that you like how the Milky Way looks like. Okay, perfect. So here's the before, here's the after. You can really see the difference. And now I'll just save this. Okay, beautiful. So now I like the Milky Way, how it looks right now, but the background isn't really nice. So we have this layer here where we edited the Milky Way in Luminar. So we have to make a mask and just apply that mask to there. Good. Perfect. So now we can get rid of those layers and now we have this starless version with the unedited background. So now we need to make the background without the Milky Way look as best as possible. So as you can see now, there's a bit of noise, and don't worry if the Milky Way then looks blurry or something, but we will just go to filter here now and just use the starless version, and then just go to the camera raw filter, and here we just go to details, zoom in, and then use the noise reduction. Just make it like this. It's pretty nice. Just look that there's not too much noise, but also not too little, that everything is washed out. So that should be good. Okay, good, perfect. So now in the basics tab, I'll just lower the highlights a bit, make it a bit darker, pull up the shadows a bit more, so that vignette here on top goes away a bit. Okay, good. Perfect. So now we can put this on again. And now we have the background, which is really nice without a lot of noise. And then we have the Milky Way, which has a bit of noise because we edited it pretty strong. So I think it's a bit too noisy. So I'll just copy this layer by pressing Ctrl J. Now we'll also make here a camera raw filter and just pull up the noise reduction a bit. I can go just zoom in a bit, go to details, and then pull up the noise reduction. Not too much, I'll do 15. That should be good. Yeah, perfect. That's enough. So what we're going to do now is we're going to copy this layer again, go to filter, go to other, and then high pass. And now you have to zoom in, press Ctrl and just zoom in. And now you have to look when the details start to come up. About here should be fine. So press OK. And now we use a blend mode. So this technique is to sharpen the Milky Way. And now we have to use the correct blend mode. So just use one of those here and just look which one looks the best. So for example here the hard light has then too much noise. Let's look at the pin light. Then you can just zoom in. That looks pretty nice. Now let's do another one. I think I'll do that overlay and then just pull down the opacity to 25. Okay, perfect. That made it a bit more sharp. Good. So now we have those edges that don't really look nice. So how we're going to fix this is we're going to choose the starless and then just take the patch tool, choose those parts, drag it over a bit, and then that should be fine. So what I now like to do is make the Milky Way a bit brighter, and for that we'll just go up to this layer here. So before the high pass filters come in, and now I'll just go to this layer and we will get the dodge tool. So with the dodge tool, just choose the range highlights, exposure 10% should be good. And now we just look what it does. Okay, good. Now look at before and after, you can see that it makes the highlights more light. That was a bit too much, so let's reverse that and just brighten up the parts which are bright. Okay, so the next step is to add back in the stars. So that's the layer 0 and just pull that up. Good. Okay, so here we have the stars. Now we just need to get out the stars. So we do that by pressing Ctrl M. Just bringing this point down and this point up. And now just making an S-curve. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we have the stars here now. And everything else is almost completely black. And now it has like a pretty green tint to it. So I'll just go into the camera raw filter, go to basics and pull the tint up a bit. Now maybe for you that's not necessary. And now the stars look pretty blue. I'm not sure if you can see that. So I'll just pull up the temperature a bit and I'll pull down the saturation. -40 looks good. Okay, good. Perfect. So now let's just go to the basics tab, pull up the highlights a bit, not too much. Just as much as you want the stars to be visible. Then I'll pull down the shadows even a bit more. -20 looks good for me. Good, perfect. Press OK. Down here we have the small village. If you have anything else in the frame that you don't want, just remove that with the patch tool. It's that easy. Just drag it over. And there it goes. Perfect. Now here is a bit brighter than the rest of the image. So just pull that over. Okay, good. So now we have the stars selected. They look pretty good. Okay. So as we have the layer on the top now, we can just change the blend mode to lighten, screen, color dodge, linear dodge, or lighter color. I think I will use screen for me. That looks the best. So now if you act and deactivate it, you can see the before and after. We just got back the stars from the photo. So now as you can see, it may also make the photo a bit brighter. So just press Ctrl L and just drag the left slider over a bit. Good, that should be fine. Here on the right side, I see some color, which is not the same as the background, as the sky. So what you can do now is just go to the starless image and just use the patch tool. Get the part that doesn't look normal. And then just drag it over like this, or you could just crop it out as you wish. But for me that worked great. So I love how the Milky Way looks right now. So I'll keep that. And now we can just add the Milky Way to the foreground. So we have our foreground image here. And now what I love to do is just take the crop tool and just pull that up. Pull it up pretty high so you have enough space. Now here with the foreground, we want to remove the sky. Okay, so here I have a pretty easy game. I'll just take the brush tool, make a mask, press X to change the colors. So make that the black is on top. And then I can just remove, not that much, just remove the sky from the photo. In my other Milky Way tutorial, I have a complexer background, and there I show how to remove the background even better. So now you just go over here, press Ctrl, Shift, Alt and E. So now we have everything in one layer. So now just press V and then just drag the layer over. Now, yes, good, perfect. So now we have to put the Milky Way in the background, and we have to remove this bottom part of the Milky Way. So let's set the horizon where it should be. Something like that. Perfect. Okay, so now let's go over to here and make a soft brush. Choose the white color on top. Now obviously we have to choose the mask. Just paint that in again. And now we can just make a nice gradient. Okay, so that looks already amazing. So what I can see now is that the colors are a bit off. I think the foreground is a bit too warm for the sky. But the first thing we'll do is just crop the image a bit. Okay, great. So I'll just take the foreground, then I'll just go here and press color balance. And now we have to press this one, so it's attached to the foreground. And we can just make simple changes to that. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'll change the gradient a bit because it's not working anymore with the photo. Good, and now I'll just make a copy of the background of the Milky Way. And now I'll just go to filter and camera raw filter. And now I just want to make the gradient better from the foreground to the Milky Way. So I'll just drag it a bit over to the blue side, a bit cooler, and I'll lower the exposure a bit. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that looks great. So now to make the effect a bit less, I'll just drag the opacity down a bit to 75. And as you can see, it fits way better to the image. Okay, perfect. So now the only thing that I would just do is crop the image in a bit and then just save it. But I really love how this turned out. So now we're actually already done. I hope you learned a lot from this tutorial. And as I told you in the beginning, just stay tuned for the upcoming videos. I'll also make tutorials on how to take the photo of the Milky Way from the background, so you can get those sharp results. Comment down below what you think about the photo. I really love it. And I hope your photo turned out great as well with my techniques. And just share it with your friends so they can come with you and shoot the Milky Way, because I think astrophotography is a really beautiful thing. You could just go out in the nature, under the night sky, look up to the stars and take those amazing images. See you in the next videos where I will show you how to take those photos.